Hello, everybody. Welcome. So, anybody has questions for Arto? Because this is an extremely interesting paper for me, and it was already in Vienna when I first heard. So that's why I asked him and he agreed very kindly to present. Anybody has any question? Yes, Paul.
Thank you very much. This is going to wind up in my personal morphology this morning as changing me forever. My question is, this is just the parameters of your workshop. This was part of a feature film writing class, or was it just?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you followed them for the entire semester developing a feature film, or did you encourage them to start thinking about outside the commercial aspects and then turn them over to somebody else? How did you do it?
It depends on where I have been running the workshop, because, for example, when I'm working with my own students, then it's a much more longer process. I have been teaching MA students and BA students, and BA students in our school, they are making only short films. MA students are writing long features, and I have been using the same method more or less, and well, the process is very much the same. But of course, when I'm working with my own students, developing the story, I can later on bring more dramaturgy and so on. But for example, those workshops I have been running in Ritz in Brussels, and they are only 1 week workshop. So they are kind of an inspirational workshops only, where I can point out from each students that this is very, very interesting stuff. Maybe you can create something out of this, and then their own teacher kind of takes the project and continues to take it further. But when you were asking, some of the students actually they have made documentaries as well as a result of the workshop. So because sometimes there can be documentary ideas as well.
Okay, thank you.
Arto, thank you so much. This was just completely fascinating, even from LA, where you are, Paul, right? And it's like very early in the morning, but I really loved it. And it has a particular resonance, what you just said about the Michael Haig quote, because I'm in this lab I'm running right now, which is writing a feature, and all the participants are in India. It just struck me, and I'm going to actually talk about it today when I meet with them for a class. A lot of them have never written, and if their own lives didn't have some value to bring to the kind of stories they're telling, they would really feel they shouldn't have even been selected for the lab. So I think the idea of what's interesting about one's own life, I'm just struck by some of the people that we accepted who had no writing experience at all, and often say, nothing ever happened to me, or, I'm just someone from
that's not true.
Yeah, and then you think about character and the classes that, we teach about character, and it's not about having a life that seems ostensibly full of event, but going down into, I'm thinking of one of the person who's struggling most in my class, who grew up on picking tea up in, a mountain village. And he often says in class, like, I'm not like people who live in the city. Like, I don't understand this, So I think there's something very powerful that I can immediately bring to him today and to the class. And I just really wanted to thank you for that. I love also the maps. I love the idea of drawing instead of writing words at the beginning of a exploration of character. So thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Arto, do you want to respond to this?
Yes, because there was in my paper, which I have been writing, there's this, I'm quoting Wei Lin, who is associate professor of screenwriting at Emerson College. He has written screenwriting guidebook, Crazy Screenwriting Secrets, 2019. And he's saying that, as an example, that by saying that the writer might not have been a billionaire vigilante fighting crimes in Gotham City like in The Dark Knight, still one might have experienced the loss of a parent or parent-like character as Bruce Wayne did. So we do have, we all do have experience, very unique experiences, which we can bring to our stories and fictional stories, whatever they are, whatever the genre is, whatever the world is, so on. So because right away when you, Gabriel, when you were saying that the student have been only, did you say that picking tea?
Tea up in the plantation in Assam in India, a very kind of working class, or well, actually in India, it's a struggle because it's somebody who is in the lowest caste, and so one of the points of the lab is to bring people who wouldn't have a chance to tell their stories. But his story is set there in this location, but constantly every class he's saying, I don't know about this character, you know, they're just picking tea. But actually, he's writing a very interesting thriller, you know, quite sophisticated. But he compares himself negatively to those who go to the city, because that's kind of what everyone, it's kind of the dream, you know, the paradigm of the dream is you leave your small town, like you said you hated yours and I hated mine, and you leave to go to the city, but he never did. He's actually still up there. So he says, you know, I just never even left. I mean, I hope this isn't boring. And it's actually one of the most interesting stories.
Sounds like that here. Certainly. I wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that anybody is unhappy in Finland from the US's perspective.
I know.
You get it all right. Come on. I'm disillusioned now.
Yeah. No. It was when I was a teenager, and of course it's another thing.
Another time. Okay. Anybody else having questions or comments, please?
I'm sorry, Eugene, go ahead.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, I was just going to say, I love this. I thought this was fascinating. And actually, my biggest takeaway is screenwriting is problem solving, and you have to love your problems. Oh, like that is just what a way to be able to transform something from a struggle to, you know, to a joy. I love that. But what I want specifically on your topic, one of the things I found with students who are doing something based on something that happened to them, and generally speaking, it's an emotional experience that happened to them, right? Like I've had trouble, not every time, but a couple of people in particular, I've had trouble shaking them from it being their story. Like they couldn't get the distance to be able to have the character have a transformation, for example, right? For the character to have an arc, because they didn't have an arc, right? So they didn't grow and learn from it. They just want to sort of sit in it. And so there's nothing, like, it's very unfulfilling because nothing shifts, nothing changes. Did you, like, is that something you've encountered? Do you have any, any ideas on how to help shift? Like, I've been able to shift it most of the times, but there was this one guy, right, he ended up, I was actually he ended up dropping the first class and coming into my class to work on the same project because he wasn't getting anywhere with the other teacher. And then he couldn't get anywhere with me. He just wouldn't let go.
Sorry, your sound was breaking
sorry.
in some points. So, but your question was that
My question is, when people are so close, like you've really worked with people who are delving into themselves to find stories, if they are
yeah,
too close to it to be able to create something larger than a series of events,
yeah, okay, yeah,
how do you
yes, yes.
shift that?
It's challenging, and of course that's each individual is different, so
Right.
it depends on the particular individual. But for example, there was one student a long time ago, which in his map there was a very interesting situation. He had a his biological father had left him and the family when he was very small, a couple of months old, and he never had seen his father after that. But his mother had a kind of a boyfriend, or actually for him, actually that boyfriend became his father, kind of a figure. They were very close and so on. But when he was a teenager, what happened was that they divorced. And he told that he had a strange feeling because he was supposed to go with his mother when they separated. and because he was so close to that mother's boyfriend, he wanted to actually go with him.